Hello everyone, welcome to My Family Reviews Star Trek. I'm your host Perry, this is my daughter Leia, and this is my son Clone Trooper 1701. Behind the camera is my wife, we'll just call her the voice of God. Today we're reviewing Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Episode 2, Children of the Comet. That's a very Star Trek-y title, I like it a lot, and the episode, they started off really strong with Strange New Worlds, they're 2 for 2 as far as I'm concerned. So let's get right into it. If you haven't seen episode 2 of Strange New Worlds, please go watch it. It's better than anything you're going to see on YouTube. We're going to spoil the mess out of it, so if you keep watching, we're assuming you've seen the episode.
Other than us. We are on YouTube.
Okay, well, I think Strange New Worlds is better than this review. So we're going to have to edit that out. All right, starting off with the away mission. The away mission was pretty good. It reminded me, actually, of Next Generation Season 1. I mean, this could have been Wesley's first away mission.
So mean to Uhura.
Well, no. See, everybody trashes on Wesley, but it's the same type of character, like Tilly, Wesley, now Uhura. I mean,
New to Starfleet.
Bashir. Huh?
I like seeing the newness in Starfleet through Uhura's eyes because it felt more real. She felt so relatable as a character.
Right.
When you saw it, like her being scared of beaming down to a comet full of cosmic rays.
That was cute. I like
Yeah.
that.
Everything about Uhura's interactions with like her fellow crewmates in that episode was amazing, I thought.
Yeah, it was really good.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I didn't like every one of her reactions. I felt, especially at the captain's party, maybe she was taking things a bit too personally. Maybe that's just like my personality type is kind of more brush it off, but I thought she was taking it a bit too personally. I did like the scene, and you talked about this, where she responded in her own tongue. I thought that was like sharp of her instead of kind of just getting annoyed about it. But yeah, I thought all of her interactions were great. But then when you look at that with the lens of she didn't want to be in Starfleet and she was going towards academia instead of more of a crew environment where everyone's kind of chummy with each other, it kind of makes sense why she would take it as less of a joke and more of like a, oh my god, you know?
All right. But overall, the opening scene was awesome because it shows the cast as a real ensemble, just like DS9, one of the first episodes where I think they were all in Kira's quarters, but they were all there and they're all interacting with each other. And that's just like what this was with Captain Pike.
Yeah.
It's a really ensemble cast. It's a really good cast. They interact so well with each other. My engineer finally got to speak.
Yeah.
His first word was no. I liked it a lot. And the captain cooking for the crew reminded me of Riker cooking his omelet in Season 2 when he had the beard.
Pike reminds me a lot of what Riker would be like as a captain. He also reminds me of Captain America, but that's off topic. He reminds me a lot of what Riker would be.
He has like the best captain's quarters in Starfleet.
Yeah.
Like
The
automatic.
biggest captain.
Yeah. It's like a nice house he has or something.
Well, yeah, that scene with them all together, I thought that was probably one of the best parts of the episode, with them all interacting like that. Spock's comments, Chapel's comments, Uhura's comments.
Yeah, I like how it all foreshadowed in the end, like with the laughter whole anecdote that Captain Pike gave and Spock's questioning of like a human characteristics and like conversation and stuff. I liked how all that ended up being foreshadowed later. Even Uhura humming the tune of her Kenyan, like people in her hometown in Kenya. Like I liked how all that connected in the end. Like that reminded me of like regular Next Generation episodes, and I think that's really refreshing.
I get what you're saying with that, but I feel like they beat you over the head with it a little bit. You know what I mean? I feel like if they left it at the subtlety with, like, especially with the Uhura and Nurse Chapel and Spock scene, I feel like if they left it with Uhura giving that eyebrow, you know what I mean? And they stopped it there instead of having her come back and being like, haha, it's a joke, LOL, learn to laugh. It would have been better. But I also want to remark that Spock laughing at the very end, I feel like that was kind of a hint. It made him more like Data, I think, than Spock, because it was him imitating human behaviors. Yeah. So I want to see what forces him to transition from trying to imitate and be a part of the crew and be more human to, I'm a Vulcan and I'm better than everyone.
Two words. Dr. McCoy. When he shows up, watch out.
Is Dr. McCoy coming?
No, not right now.
Oh,
I mean, I'm sure he'll come when Kirk comes. But
no, they got Dr. Mbenga right now.
Yeah,
he's pretty dope.
He's pretty cool. I like him, which we saw more of him in this episode.
He's the only character I think that's kind of been minimized. I feel like every other character
it's
the first two episodes. It's the first two episodes. They can't have every.
You know, he had no screen time this episode.
That's fine. I mean, it's fine if he doesn't get screen time every episode. Like, just him as a character is nice.
Ortega's was pretty cool. I liked her a lot.
Yeah.
She pranked Uhura right from the beginning.
Yeah.
And the way they focus on her flying the ship a lot, I thought she was a pretty cool character.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more of her.
And they use her to show the camaraderie of the crew quite often, especially with stuff. What did he say? Stuff we hear stuff when you were a cadet, like with the best pilot.
We're gonna be the best
ever.
pilot in Starfleet, and she didn't know that got out. Yeah.
Exactly. It showed how like she grew with the crew and like they're all very comfortable with each other, especially when she was making those comments to Una. You know what I mean? Like, that's your first officer, and you're just casually talking about space monks. Like, okay.
I liked seeing how like her flight of the Enterprise actually like translated to that like big like CGI sequence with the Enterprise dodging all those torpedoes from that alien Shepard ship. I like how we got to see how like piloting actually got to like translate. Like we got to see her skill basically
Yeah.
in the episode. I really liked that.
Yeah, they really spoiled us with this episode. We've never, in all the Star Trek episodes I remember seeing, and I've seen them all, they've never really shown all these special effects, external space shots of the main ship or the space station flying as much as we saw it in this episode, whether it was the shuttlecraft with the Comet or the Enterprise with that big ship. I mean, there were some really extended, beautiful-looking scenes that we've never really been treated to before, and the Enterprise really looked beautiful.
Can I say that what I really liked the external scene was where the ship got hit here and there by the stones,
And you saw the shields.
and the shields
Yeah.
show up, very similar to the Picard movie, where the scene was the outside getting hit and how beautifully they showed the ship.
Yeah,
Very similar for me.
yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I like the shield effects when
The
things get
shield,
hit. Yeah.
I think we are all forgetting about Star Trek: The Motion Picture when we got
Okay,
16
all right.
minutes
I knew
of
someone was bringing that up.
your spaceship time.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
All right, that was a little overdone, and that was a feature film. But yes, it was done with just the right amount of time, the longest of any episode, but yes, not compared to the movies, yeah.
Is anyone going to bring up the golden nail paint?
No one's talking about nail polish
on
ever.
the
I-
first
Ever.
officer?
Didn't even notice
On the
that.
first
Notice
office,
that.
Una, she can have nail paint?
It was so beautiful.
Can
Okay,
we talk
you
about
liked
Una
it.
though? Because
Alright,
I
sure.
like her, but we've only seen her really in relation to other people. I want to know more about
Yeah.
her.
I think the third episode is going to feature her, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure about that. I didn't even watch a trailer for the third one yet. But yeah, so far it's been La'an, which was great, and now Uhura and Ortega's a little bit.
I hope they don't do. Each character is going to get an episode, and
Oh.
they're going to get their
No.
backstory. And
I don't
I
think so
then
because
they can all be together.
with
you
the
know?
episodes they've been like characterizing other like Spock's had his
Yeah.
moments in each episode that
But we
developed
met
him.
Spock before.
And Pike, no, it's showing his transition to like understanding humanity more,
Yeah.
and it shows how Pike is coming to terms with his fate and all that, like how he's dealing with that. I liked how like the comet, his story with the comet kind of relates, you know.
Yeah, but again, they
See-
beat you over the head with that one.
Well,
I
I mean, we watched it twice, so you might not notice it the first. When you see it the first time, you're like, oh wow, look at that connection they made throughout the episode. But if you see it again, we're like, oh, we can pick up on it because you know it's obvious to us now.
I picked it out halfway through the first episode.
Well, I mean, that's besides the point. I just like how they relate those things together,
Yeah.
and how like plots like the moral implications of the Enterprise crew dealing with the comet, and then Pike having to deal with his own fate, you know, and that Una helping him with that. I like how that sort of happens. It's very very
it was
professional.
great writing, yeah.
It's like a Next Generation episode where they'll be on the holodeck at the beginning of the show talking about something, and then it just happens to relate to the plot they're dealing with in the main
Yep,
part of the
I
episode.
love that. I
So
love
yes,
that.
I love it too. It was
They
great.
do that often in writing, though, when they have like the main character reading a book. That book will mimic the plot of.
Wild.
Well, yeah, but the
Yeah.
done it seeing it done well is really not like
Yes.
after like
Yes.
Discovery, like what they did was they would like pause the main plot to hash out other characters' deals, and that was kind of frustrating for me personally to see. But like to see it like Next Generation did, like flow through the episode, is very satisfying to watch on TV.
Can we also talk about how Discovery, this comet would have been an entire season situation, but they solved a world-ending crisis in one episode.
We do
It is
not
possible.
talk about Discovery.
No, Discovery, Star Trek. We don't need to bash Discovery. We're reviewing
Yeah.
Strange New Worlds. Let's just stick on
Yeah,
topic.
I was just giving a comparison to
right.
the plots. I didn't
And
mean
then
it
it
bad.
spiraled out of control from there.
Yeah.
No judgments here. But anyway, going back to the away mission, I really thought that could have been out of Next Generation Season 1. It could have been Wesley instead of Uhura, Tasha Yar instead of La'an, Data instead of Spock, and Riker instead of Sam Kirk. Oh my goodness. And Sam Kirk. I thought they were just joking us around that first
Yeah.
episode, saying, oh, Kirk's on his way to the bridge and messing with the fans, saying, oh my gosh, we're going to see Kirk the very first episode. But now they made Sam Kirk an actual character, and he was pretty
Yeah.
interesting. He was very much like Riker, helping Uhura along, mentoring her a bit. And then, of course, he got zapped, and Riker was always getting zapped or thrown into goo the first season of Next Generation.
Yeah.
So that fit perfectly.
I wonder.
Do you think they did it on purpose, where Kirk and Spock are working together, and this Kirk's a xenoanthropologist, and then his sister is also a xenoanthropologist? Like,
Well, we'll see. Maybe xenoanthropologists fit into where he could be under life sciences to where Spock could be his
Yeah.
boss, and maybe Spock's going to upset him later on, and then Kirk's going to hear about. Who knows? What the writers can do anything, but it's very promising. I'm glad they didn't just keep Kirk as a joke and then just never show
Yeah,
him again.
that's
I'm glad
nice.
they brought him back.
mustache scene. What was that? I like the mustache. You should try one.
It's
Next
just
topic.
it's just a little bit of characterization, you know, to like a little bit of humor to just like give a break from like the tension of the plot. I appreciate it a lot.
Because in the original series, Kirk played his own brother, but just had a mustache on.
Yeah,
So that was the joke.
that's funny.
Why is Uhura not wearing the earpiece, which I love?
Well, she wasn't on comms.
When she's on comms, she wears it.
Yeah,
Like in the
everyone-
first
everyone on
episode.
comms.
Oh,
Yes.
I missed
Yeah.
It's
that.
just this episode she wasn't at her station, so she wasn't.
Somebody else was at her station.
Yeah, and then Una was at her station at one point. I wonder what Una like rotates throughout the Enterprise. It looks like
She's
she
a
takes
first
any.
officer. She goes where she's needed.
Yeah, so she goes to comms when she wants to. She goes to the helm when she wants to. Stuff like that. I think that's pretty cool.
But now with Sam Kirk, we've got two characters that are doomed by the time the original series comes up. We got Pike, and we got Sam Kirk, who's flat out going to die. I mean, the Telosians
No
aren't going to be
redemption
able to
for
save
him,
him
yeah.
or his mustache. So I
Okay.
don't know. It's looking pretty bleak here.
But
Yeah.
they said, what is it? Yeah, so right now Pike thinks he's going to die, but we know that's not the case.
No, he thinks he's gonna. I think he'd rather
Yeah,
die.
yeah.
He knows he's going to live
Oh,
with
so
no
he knows
chance.
The
about
the man who he is
Yes,
now
he-
is gonna
yes,
die. He's
yes.
gonna become something
Because he keeps
unrecognizable.
saying, I'm
Yes.
going to die and like save all these
But
lives.
he said
That
the
was
man I am now is going to be dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to be
I
trapped
think the
inside.
biggest mystery here is like what happens to Una. Like, does she just
Yeah.
continue
And
on?
the way she
Yeah.
keeps saying, like, maybe your fate's not promised, but it's like, we know it's promised. So
That's-
are you going to do some weird discovery shit, or are we going to...
No, I think that her saying that leads to them, like him developing like the plan with Spock to get him to Talos 4.
That wasn't a plan. That was all Spock. Don't take away from my
That
Spock.
that really?
Yeah, because he wouldn't have wanted that. He was bleeping no the whole damn time
Oh.
on that episode. That was Spock doing it to save his friend.
Oh.
Which he would have done for Kirk too, which makes Spock awesome.
So it's in that episode. Does Spock think that on the spot?
Clearly
Like he's
we
like,
need to rewatch. No, I mean obviously he heard about Pike and then he planned everything out from there. We even see a lot of that happens off camera.
all right, cool.
All right, so now we're going to review the episode. We'll give it on a scale of 1 to 10 tribbles. 11 tribbles being Wrath of Khan and 0 tribbles being These Are the Voyages. I'll go ahead and start. I'll give it an 8. I thought it was almost as good as last week's episode. Not quite. Some of the pacing was a little bit slow for me, especially on the Comet. But see, that's the trouble. I want everything. Like if they have deleted scenes on a disc, I'd be saying, oh, why didn't they put the deleted scenes back in the thing? And a lot of this, if they were cutting it for 45 minutes, it would have trimmed a lot better and would have been a lot faster. I probably would have given it a 9, but I would have seen those deleted scenes and said, "Oh wow, I wish they put that back in." So there's a lot of me having it both ways. It was still a really good episode, and I'd give it an 8. A lot of surprises too. I mean, the comet with shields, we didn't see that coming. When the comet hit the planet, we didn't know it was a simulation, so we thought, "Oh, what happened here?" The ending, it was a very Star Trek ending. They didn't part as enemies. They parted as friends with some sort of respect for each other. They didn't just bash the religious guy for having religious views. It ended up being worked out for both parties. And a very original ending. I mean, the comet, part of the comet hitting actually improved the lives of the people on the surface. So I thought it was a really good episode overall. Just a little bit slower, especially when comparing it to last week's episode. So I'd give it an 8.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a little slower. I would probably give it a 7 out of 10. Just because I didn't like the repetitiveness in the plot. I would have, it was appreciated, but it was a bit overdone. I loved seeing the new technology of the CPR thing built into Kirk's suit. I thought that was really original. The special effects when Uhura was singing was giving very Avatar. I really appreciated that. And, shit, there was
Language.
sorry.
God, Smiter.
Oh, I liked seeing how it actually affected the people on the planet without there having to be an away team on the planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was good.
It kind of gave you the perspective of what
Yeah.
it would be like to live in the Federation, which I thought was really, I don't know if they've done that before without an away team on the ground interacting with those characters. It was just, completely separate. I really liked that part of the episode.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite point of view.
Because it shows how like Starfleet helps even though they don't know who they're helping.
Yeah.
They just help blindly, and I think that's really nice to see that in action.
Instead of them just talking about it on the ship, how many people live on the planet, we got to see some of the people on the planet, see their lives in
Yeah,
that
connect
arid
with them.
environment. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, what would you?
I mean, I'm gonna give this episode a 10 out of 10. Like, I'm still riding that high that, wow, it's nice to see Star Trek back on TV again. Like, Star Trek as I like it back on TV. I loved how they characterized Uhura and they established a character. I loved everything they did with Spock. I appreciate how they have the main plot and they get to develop the character. Like I just love that. Like I think everything they did, even though it was like a bit slower pace than last week's episode, I think like overall they did a good job of balancing characterization with the entertaining plot that they had. I like the Shepherds; they were a good antagonist. Ortegas, Una, like everyone had a part to play. I mean, except the Doctor, but that's fine. Like no one, like everyone that had an impact on the plot, I think like was amazing, and I wouldn't change anything about the episode. I really liked it.
Yeah, like last week's episode, if the engineer didn't have anything to say, that's fine. This week, the Doctor doesn't have anything to say, that's fine.
Yeah, everything that happened mattered to me. Like, and even though it was a little bit slower paced, I enjoyed it like thoroughly, and I'm excited for next week's episode.
Yep. 2 solid episodes. All right, that's our review for today. Thanks for joining us. Live long and prosper.